Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of NCOPD Live, hosted by yours truly, Staff Sergeant Hicks, hashtag the professional SGL, coming at you live as always from Fort Lee, Virginia. Listen, it's another great Wednesday. Before we get started, I got a couple of shout outs I need to do. Shout out to, my last week's guest, Sergeant Major, made me a shirt. Put it in the mail, sent me a shirt. So shout out to Staff Sergeant Marquita Deadweiler Jackson, got me my shirt. So I'm rocking it tonight, supporting my followers, my fans. And then also, so the person in my family know who I'm talking about. Shout out to Smokey. And I ain't talking about Smokey from Friday, but she know exactly who she's talking about. So I did tell her I'm gonna give her a shout out. But we back. Listen, we got the special guest in the building, the one and only, soon to be retired, Command Sergeant Major, soon to be retired, Garrick Griffin. How you doing today, Sergeant Major?
Hey, I'm doing fine, Top. I'm doing fine, man. Top professional SGL, man. Thank you for having me here.
Hey, it's good. So before we even let you get your introduction, we got him, y'all. We got him. So we're gonna play quick in 60 seconds. So let me explain the rules, Sergeant Major. So I got 12 questions that I'm going to ask you, and you have 60 seconds to answer these questions. The clock will not start until I complete the first question. You understand the rules?
It's just like the Family Feud.
It's almost like the Family Feud.
Okay, I'm ready. I understand the question.
All right. So the first question: what is your favorite color?
Red.
Chicken, beef, or pork?
Chicken.
Favorite duty location?
Korea.
Favorite duty position?
First sergeant.
Who is your favorite mentor?
Sultan A. Muhammad.
What is the 5th Army value?
Can I use my fingers? Loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, personal courage. Oh no, I missed that one. Let's go. Next question. I'll come back.
What does NCOPD stand for?
Non-commissioned officer professional development.
How old is the Army?
The Army is 214 years old.
Who is the current Sergeant Major of the Army?
Grinston, Command Sergeant Major of the Army Grinston.
Who is the current Chief of Ordnance?
The current Chief of Ordnance, I don't know. She just switched out. I'm wrong.
How old is the Ordnance Corps?
208 years old.
Do you know the Ordnance song?
Man, I ain't sung it. I ain't gonna lie, I forgot it. I used to sing that daggone song every day. All my Ordnance soldiers out there gonna be mad at me.
And okay, go back to the question is, what is the 5th Army value?
Loyalty, duty, respect, self, integrity. Man, that
was Come on, Sergeant Major. Hey, I gotta throw that comment up, team. Throw that comment up. Hey. Hey.
Oh man, it's all good. Freestyle. I'm sorry, freestyle. I'll make it up to y'all.
So this is one of the admins of Freestyle Every Day for everybody.
Man, threw me under the bus.
And I think so. The Army is, you said 214 years old. The Army is 246 years old.
246. I knew that, man. I was testing to see if y'all knew y'all answers.
Listen.
Look, man. I am not making no excuses. I was wrong, and I owe you push-ups for all the answers that I got wrong.
Shoot, go knock something out for me. I'm getting ready to have this surgery on Tuesday with this rotator cuff. But nevertheless, listen, I am super excited. We got, like I said, the one and only in the building, Command Sergeant Major Garrick Griffin. We're gonna allow him the opportunity to tell you all who he is. Now hold on, Sergeant Major. So I ain't never did this, so I got to put a couple stipulations on you. If you say anything about Alabama or them Cowboys, NCOPD Live is gonna be cut real short today.
You might as well go and shut it down then.
All right, Sergeant Major, tell us who you are.
You see that right there? It sits over my head. So I'm Command Sergeant Major Garrick Griffin. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. Next week on the 5th, I'll be 30 years in the military. I have served in every leadership position, from squad leader all the way up to finishing my career as a Garrison Command Sergeant Major for Fort Knox. I am a diehard Dallas Cowboy and Alabama Crimson Tide fan. And if you don't like it, it's okay. I still love you. I am glad that you invited me to come on here. I hope we don't cut it short just because of my love of the crimson and white and the blue and white, man. You know, it is what it is. If I told you anything else, if I would have said anything else, I'd be lying. So I can't lie to you.
See, so you know what? I tell you what, because the topic and the relevance of the topics that he's gonna talk about tonight, it ain't about me. It's about the followers. So I can't. Cowboys and Alabama fan. So you know, I really don't hate Alabama. I'm gonna tell you why I really don't like them, because the year that Alabama and Texas made it to the championship, I'm gonna say this, and I know you're gonna say, but an L is an L. If Colt McCoy didn't get hurt,
you think so?
We was about to punish y'all.
You think so?
I know so.
Hey, we can have that conversation offline. I want you to go back and watch that game. Colt McCoy got hurt for a reason. He didn't want that smoke. he worried more about his career. But we can have that conversation.
That was the rumor that came out of that, and you know what? I gotta support that too, because it sure looked like I was like, this dude badly laid a hit on you, man. Come on, man. But he was looking for that career. He was like, hey, these guys out here hitting. But It is true. Is it not true? Let me test your integrity. Is it not true that Alabama goes to Texas to recruit their players? That's one of the states.
That's one of the states. I mean, we got a lot of players from Texas. We got a lot of Texas players from Florida. We go where the best at. The best one to come play with us. It ain't my fault. If Texas let them out the state, it's their fault.
So I see this is what my mom used to say. It's a no-win situation. That's what you're telling me. So listen, Sergeant, I'm glad you accepted the invitation to come on and be a special guest on the NCOPD Live. I'm super excited to have you on. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So I hear a lot that NCOs, we always say, is teaching, coaching, and mentoring. We focus a lot nowadays. I hear about mentor, and we're going to get to that in a second. But I want you to, if you would, please talk to us about teaching, and then we'll move into coaching, and then we'll move down the line because we got a segment on here about mentorship. So when it comes to teaching, what do you think that they're telling us as non-commissioned officers how we're supposed to be teaching, and the difference between teaching and coaching?
Teaching is actually showing. In my eyes, it's just Griffin. Teaching to me is actually showing exactly what it is that you expect. Prime example, like I was talking to you earlier, I can't expect for you to know how to inspect the barracks if I ain't showed you how to inspect that barracks first. I mean, actually giving you a thorough block instructions on what I'm looking for when you go through the barracks. And I'm just using the barracks as an example, but it could be anything. Mm-hmm. And then when you start talking about coaching, now I'm stepping back. And now I'm monitoring you, and I'm allowing you to do it your way. And then at that time, I give you some feedback on based off how you execute. And I think that's where a lot of people get it confused. You know, I mean, they somewhat hand in hand because the coach is also a teacher, but at some time, so the coach is the teacher at football practice. But at the game, guess what got to happen? He got to step back. He or she got to step back on the sideline and let the players execute, right? Mm-hmm. And because the coach can't go out on the field and play. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I can sit on the sideline and give feedback on, hey, what we need to do. I can get the chalkboard up and talk about, okay, you did this, you did that. This is what we need to do the next time to make sure that we do this correctly. So that's how I look at teaching and coaching.
Okay, so you just said something that I want to highlight. We'll come back with a follow-on question. Okay, allowing leaders to be leaders, allowing them to go out and develop and make their mistakes and sit back from as a teacher standpoint or a coach standpoint and evaluate them and give them feedback. How important is it for leaders to allow their leaders to actually go out and execute and be that leader that they're trying to be? Because you got some leaders that'll tell you one thing and then they'll still go back and do it for themselves and not allow that individual to be a leader. Go ahead.
No, I think the only way that I know I've learned and many of my peers have learned is through our failure. You learn more through failure, attempting and trying something than you'll ever do than always getting stuff right, because you don't know how to deal with it. A lot of times, platoon sergeants, platoon leaders, company commanders, first sergeants, we still so the company commander and first sergeant, I always say they still be in platoon sergeant and platoon leader mode when they first go into a particular job, because their comfort zone was what they knew how to do. And so it's kind of hard to pull away from that. But I always think that you have to allow your leader, and they have to know that they're in an organization where it's okay to fail. I ain't talking about going out there and somebody getting killed or hurt or whatever, but knowing that, hey, I made an honest mistake and it's not going to end my career. I just think that's how people learn. Me going out there setting up as a first sergeant, setting up sergeant time training, what am I teaching? I'm not teaching that if I'm the one that's setting it up. They don't learn how to do it. So when I'm not around, guess what? Nobody know how to execute, because I was the one that was always doing everything. So you have to, and that's what trust and confidence is built in your organization as well, when you allow people to execute stuff and not just completely stand. I made rank because I hated people standing over me. I'm just gonna be honest. So, but when I did make rank, I made sure that I wasn't that same guy, because if I was standing over people, then I'm a hypocrite. So I allowed people to do what they had to do, and then I provided feedback where it needed to be given.
That sounds a lot like developing as you're learning as you go, and your trials and error. That's where you're being developed at by that coach, that teacher is saying, "Hey, this is one of your weaknesses," and you're providing them feedback that they can better themselves. It's kind of like developing, correct?
Yeah, I mean, but see, when you coach as a coach, that's what you're doing. You are developing people. You teaching. You should be. And I told you earlier, I don't like to use that word "should," but this is one of them times I would. That is actually what you're supposed to be doing as a coach. You are developing people. You are, as I say, you should be working yourself out of a job as a coach. Because as a senior leader, my job is to develop the next generation of senior leaders. Not worry about my next job, but what the next generation. Because eventually we all got a expiration date and we got to tap out. So what am I doing to develop that next sergeant major, that next brigade commander? What am I doing to make sure that when I walk away from this, what we call the army in life, that it's still in good hands with Allstate?
Okay, so I've heard this statement before, and I've never asked a sergeant major, but I just so happen to got you on the show. I know it's different levels of leadership, and I always remember they said sergeant majors develop how many levels down? If you're at a brigade, you're a brigade sergeant major right now, correct?
You should be focusing on the first sergeant. Should be focusing on the first sergeant.
As a brigade sergeant major?
As a brigade sergeant major, it's 2 levels down.
Okay.
So the first sergeant, the same as the battalion sergeant major, should be focusing on the platoon sergeant. But everybody should be focused. I mean, just me. I think y'all should be focusing on each other. But it is truly the brigade sergeant major. The brigade sergeant major is the one that hires the first sergeant. It ain't the battalion sergeant major. Battalion sergeant major gets stuck with the first sergeant.
Right?
That's a whole nother relationship in itself. That's a whole nother conversation. But still, you as a battalion sergeant major, even though you didn't select the person to be the first sergeant, it's still your job to still, help in the developmental phase of your first sergeant. But your focus should definitely be, as the battalion sergeant major, should be the platoon sergeant, and as the brigade sergeant major, it should be the first sergeant.
Okay. So we talked about teaching, coaching. So this mentorship, and I think, and this is the professional SGL. My thoughts. I don't feel that we've got it down packed how we should. So I got a 2-part question. What does it mean to be a mentor? The first question. What does it mean as the mentor to be a mentor, and what does it mean as the soldier or the subordinate looking for the mentor? What does that mean?
Well, first of all, I consider being a mentor. I think that's a badge of honor, because to be a mentor, that means somebody saw something in you that they wanted to be, and they reached out to you and said, "Hey, I want you to teach me how to get to where you was at." Because I don't believe that we should, "Hey, I'm your mentor." That's at least that's not the way I've ever seen it, to where you the mentor. No, I see something, because everybody in there can mentor people, but I see something in somebody that I like, and I want to get there, and I want to be just like them. And so I reach out to them. So if I say I'm gonna be your mentor, then when you come to me and you ask me the hard questions or whatever, I tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. But on the flip side of it, you tell me when you come to me, you say I want you to be your mentor. The first thing I'm gonna ask you, then what is it that you want to do? Now, I give you guidance. It's not my job to make you do it. You still, at the end of the day, the mentee got to be still willing to accept what I give them and want to be willing to do it. But I'm supposed to be there, to be that ear, to be that sounding board for them, to help and guide them to get where it is that they want to go. I don't think I should be shutting them down and telling them, oh, that ain't what you want to do. I can ask them, lead some questions to try to, see exactly where they want to go. But the mentor, that is a hard job. A lot of people, I don't take it lightly. If somebody asks me to be their mentor, like I know Son Jackson on here right now, he already knows my next question gonna be is when that book gonna start, because he asked me to keep on pounding him about it. And so that's what he asked me to do as his mentor. I'm supposed to keep on asking him that. When you gonna write that book? So, that's why I look at the mentor.
So mentorship, you said this just a second ago, telling an individual what they need to hear versus what they want to hear. And so my board of advisors, I call them the board of advisors. I have 5 advisors, and their job that I've asked them to do is to advise me on certain topics that we may bring to the platform. And I look for them to give me the sound advice or sound counsel of what I need to hear versus what I want to hear. Now, there's been some time that they've told me no, and I was like, man, but I really want to talk about that. There's only been twice that I've ever broke ranks with my advisors, and I totally think that I shouldn't do that, because I have them there to advise me. I've asked each and every one of them to be an advisor to the page. So what makes any sense to have the advisor, and I don't listen to what the advisor tells me? So it kind of leads me back to mentorship. When you've asked somebody to be a mentor and they tell you what you need to hear versus what you want to hear, how do you think the soldier should reply to that?
No, I still think the soldier has a decision they have to make. Me as a mentor, I just give you what it is that you need to hear. It don't mean you got to listen to me. And then I shouldn't get upset if you elect or choose to do something else, because yet again, okay, you do something else opposite than what I didn't advise you to do. It's going to be a learning. I promise you, if you do something completely opposite of what I told you to do, you're going to learn from it, and then we're going to talk about it. So we can sit down and we can have that conversation. So what did you learn from doing completely opposite? Sometimes the mentor don't always have the right answer. And if you got something so deep down inside that you think you need to talk about it, then maybe you need to talk about it. But I don't think a mentor should get upset because a person don't listen exactly what they hear. Where I feel a mentor mess up at if they don't tell the soldier what they need to hear. And I don't even want to say soldier, because I'm telling you, I got civilian mentors. I got young soldiers that actually mentor me, because one of my old soldiers got me into financing, got me into day trading and stuff. Like, I don't know nothing about that. So I went to him, and I have to listen to him, because, hey, he know more about it than me. But if I go and I buy a particular stock because my gut tell me to do it, that him as a mentor, he did his part. He told me what I needed to hear. Now it's still left to the mentee to determine whether or not they're gonna listen to their mentor or they're gonna do something completely different.
So you answered my next follow-on question.
Okay.
Does a mentor, can the mentor be at any level, at any rank?
Oh yeah.
Now, so on NCOPD Live, Sergeant, I talk about how it is out in the Army nowadays. There are some leaders that would have you to believe that a specialist or a PFC can't mentor a staff sergeant, for example. But if that specialist is a subject matter expert or expertise at a particular task or something that you're trying to accomplish, why is it hard for individuals to accept a mentor from a person of lower rank, just in your own professional opinion?
I think that's pride. Pride is a dangerous thing, man. I learned a long time. So I'm an ordnance soldier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a wheel mechanic. Every organization that I've been in has been different equipment. A lot of equipment that I ain't never seen before in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I can reach out to my battle buddy that's got about as much time as I got in the military. They ain't never seen this equipment either. Or, you know what, I can sit down and talk to this young soldier or whoever and say, hey, come here and talk to me. And until I get it right with them, I don't see nothing wrong with it. It's just me personally. I just think a person that don't think of somebody in this army today, you got a lot of older privates.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot, I mean, compared to when I came in, when most of us was 18 years old, you have some people, some soldiers a little lesser rank. They got a few years and they've been out there and they've seen some things. You'd be surprised when you sit down and talk to your soldier. That's just me. I think anybody that don't believe that, then it's because of pride. Pride is a dangerous thing, though. I understand a lot of leaders fail because of pride.
Okay. So I want to transition. Thanks for talking about teaching, coaching, and mentoring. I want to transition to accountability. Now, there's a whole lot that's going on right now, and I posted something earlier today on my. I guess Joe Dorr knows you a lot. I think he said you was his AIT instructor. He said you was his first sergeant at ALC at Fort Lee. So I shout out to Joe Dorr.
Hey, what's going on, Dorr? How you doing, man? Hey, I hope I wasn't that bad as your first sergeant.
So like I was saying though, but when it comes to accountability, there's so much that can be said on accountability, and I want to get your take on this. When we talk about accountability, the first thing most people think about is equipment. But accountability goes so far beyond accountability. Just equipment. And I remember one of the things that I learned as a young sergeant, even as a young detachment sergeant, is that whenever I held formation, I didn't allow the platoon sergeants, the two platoon sergeants I had in our unit, to tell me that all accounted for. I didn't think that was in my opinion, while I was sitting in the seat, you couldn't tell me all accounted for. Mm-hmm. Either they were present or out of ranks, and if you accounted for them, you should be able to tell me I got 15 assigned, 10 present, 2 on staff duty, 1 at stick call, and so forth. So give me your idea of accountability as far as when we're talking about accounting for soldiers and individuals.
I mean, it's exactly what you just said, but let me put another twist on it. See how you just said how you did accountability formations, and you had that squad leader say, hey, I got 15 assigned, 10 present, 3 off for duty, 1 on. That's a perishable skill. Mm-hmm. It's all about who they've been exposed to. See, when I went to PLDC, BNOC, and ANOC, that was every day. So it was not to say that we did it back at the units, but it was reinforced at each one of those institutional schools as well. Whereas I remember being the first time at the NCO Academy, it was nowhere in any POI, anything that was supposed to. We had accountability formation, but you didn't have people reporting the way you just did. Mm-hmm. And so based off who the first sergeant or the platoon sergeant at that time and their experience would determine whether or not soldiers report that. But as far as accountability, man, I mean, I'd rather you lose equipment than a soldier. We can always replace equipment. We can't replace soldiers, man. And I have seen on several occasions in my military career where people gave false reports, and days later we done found a soldier. We just found a soldier dead. Either they committed suicide or something happened because of false reports. And I've seen whole chain of command's career ended because of a false report. Mm-hmm. Because some leader didn't want to do their job. It was, and we got a different generation. So when Private Griffin was a private, staff sergeants lived in the barracks. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't nothing for us to be accounted for, because when my platoons and hell, the sergeant first class that lived in the barracks, they just lived in a different barracks, but they still lived in the barracks. So they had to come. They was knocking on the doors. So they lived in the same barracks, whereas now a lot of our staff sergeants and above, they don't live in the barracks. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, income was responsible for the barracks. So you had a lot of leaders that felt like, okay, I don't even have to go to the barracks. And so we lost that somewhere. That's a lost art that each leader we got to get back to, because it ain't never, the way we account for soldiers has never changed. The people have changed and how we do it, but how we account for soldiers has never changed. So it's truly important, more important to account for a soldier and equipment in my eyes.
And see, I think you just said something that was so pertinent, is that NCOs, we don't go to the barracks no more, but that is a part of accountability. Going by the barracks, making sure that the soldiers are doing what they're supposed to be doing. The barracks is not a mess. It seems like we have lost that trait as NCOs, going into the barracks, making sure that everything is on the up and up. And we're dealing with a situation, I really don't want to touch on it that much, but we're dealing with a situation with the soldier in Fort Hood. That the accountability part, it has a lot of people scratching their head. Is like, hey, how could this have happened? Because of false reporting, nobody's not actually doing it the way it should be done.
I would tell you one, and it's just me, I can't say that it's a lost art. I have to always go back to what is the experience of that leadership. I can't, because I don't like to generalize anything, because I know there's a lot of people out there. Me personally, I just feel comfortable knowing that anybody that ever worked for me, they out there doing what they're supposed to do when it comes to that, account, because of how painful I made it for them. I know that they making the exact same way, because as Sergeant Major Price said, it's called engaged leadership. But again, have they seen their leaders? And soldiers do, as one of my mentors say, soldiers inspect what you inspect. They pay attention to what you pay attention to. So if you're not doing it, then 9 times out of 10, they not gonna do it. Or they only gonna focus on the things that you look at. And as a leader, you gotta be able to look at everything, and you have to come up with a plan on how you're gonna get at everything. But it has to be done. But I think it's been, with one, we just gave the barracks back to units. When I left Fort Knox as the garrison sergeant major, we had unit integrity throughout the installation again, something that we lost, and I don't blame it. I mean, it is what it is. We was going back and forth to Afghanistan, to Iraq. Units was coming in, going out, and it was kind of hard to manage the barracks. So Income took that job over. But now that we ain't downrange as much, now we gave that responsibility. As of actually last January, we gave that responsibility back to the units. So I mean, at Fort Knox, I can tell you they was in the barracks, because why I know, because I attended all the barracks meetings as a garrison sergeant major, and guess who I had there? I had all the first sergeants, and we would go through the barracks. So I would say this about who the leadership is and what they've been exposed to.
Okay. So I saw Master Sergeant Price said something about engaged leadership, and I actually have that as a topic that we're going to hit on just a minute. So I got you, Master Sergeant Price.
That's our major Price right there. That's Jamie.
No, it was Christian D. Price at first.
Okay, I missed that.
I know Command Sergeant Major Price. We was just on Let's Talk About It on Monday on Master Sergeant Green show.
Yeah,
popped in on us. But yeah. And then I saw another one up here, character accountability, as just as important as, I was going to tell them to bring it back up if they don't mind. It says something about character accountability. Thanks. Character accountability is just as important as people accountability. Being responsible for a soldier's well-being should be more than a check-the-block task, which brings me to this: personal accountability, holding yourself accountable. What is your stance on personal accountability? And I'm talking about from not as soldiers. I'm talking about leaders right now. Holding leaders accountable, holding ourselves accountable, personal accountability. Mike is yours.
I agree with it. I mean, honestly, it's incumbent on everybody to be responsible for what they do. Not just a young soldier, but leaders too. Matter of fact, I think more so leaders than the soldiers, because leaders live in a fishbowl. Everything they do, everything they say is being seen, and so you have to be mindful. And as you continue to move up in your military career, you have to be very mindful of the things that you say and that you do. Mm-hmm. And if you mess up, you have to own up to it. As a leader, you cannot be afraid to say, I made a mistake. You're human. We all make mistakes, but you got to own it. Mm-hmm. A lot of times what happens is we don't hold ourselves accountable. We want to shift the blame. We want to blame somebody else. It's somebody else's fault. One of the things that used to frustrate me was, hey, you know what? Some came down from the battalion sergeant because people don't want to look. They don't want to look bad. They don't want to look like the bad guy or girl.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's say I put some out, and then they go and they say, well, hey, they go talk to the platoon and say, well, you know, first sergeant said we got to do this. There's no personal accountability in my eyes when you say first sergeant said you got to do it. You don't want to look like the bad guy or girl. And so now you get upset when everyone first sergeant come around. Everybody tighten up, and you mad because everybody tighten up. They stand at parade rest when first sergeant come around, but when he leave, you know, they talking to you like you one of the guys or one of the girls. But again, it's because of no personal accountability, no ownership. And I'm a firm believer in it, man. You got to own it. I don't care who give it. And when the directives are given, you as the leader, you got to own it. You got to be perfect, and you got to take accountability for it and make sure that it happens.
Mm-hmm. So I'm a firm believer in personal accountability, and I try to be as transparent as I can. And then if a mistake is made, then like you said, I agree in owning up to it. Had a conversation with the senior leader this morning, an individual, and I'm not going to call this individual's name because I didn't even say that I was going to talk about the individual on NCOPD Live, but it just came to me. So the individual came to me and we had a discussion about something that I posted earlier on my personal profile, and that individual stated her stance on it, the reasoning why, and it caused me to go back and say, well, wait a minute, hold up, maybe I didn't look at this all the way. The guidance, I'm not gonna even call it criticism, but the guidance that she gave me was constructive versus deconstructive.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to saying that sometimes we have to understand as leaders that we're human and we're subject to make mistakes.
Yeah.
But when you own up to it, that's holding yourself accountable, but you have to be transparent enough to say, well, you know what? I hear what you're saying, and you might have some validity to what you're saying, but it goes back to that whole piece about you were saying is own up to it. Maybe some people, like you say, based on the leadership that they had or what they know of, it's hard for them to accept that if they made a mistake or if they was wrong.
Well, they've been around leaders that never admitted when they was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, everything that we do, I mean, even with your kids, if you don't show your kids no love, guess what happens when they become parents and have kids?
They don't show their kids no love.
They don't show their kids because that's the only thing that they've been exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
The things like that are taught. And I mean, and that's even with what's going on. Racism is taught. Mm-hmm. Just like anything else, they do what they have seen. You as a leader, guess what? We all got blind spots. Mm-hmm. We do. We might not want to admit it. We all have blind spots. Mm-hmm. And if it's somebody out there that has the intestinal fortitude to come talk to us and tell us what they've seen and give that opinion, we have to be receptive to it. Mm-hmm. I tried to create an organization, and this, I mean, although I did have one NCO went to IG on me because she was upset about what I said, but I said I don't need bobbleheads in my organization. Mm-hmm. And if you know what a bobblehead is, it's a little thing that's sitting in the car, the head just go up and down. I've never liked that. I need people to be candid and be honest. If I make a decision that's crazy, I need you to tell me that. Because when I make this stupid decision, guess what? It don't just affect me. It affect our whole organization is gonna be looked at crazy. And when a soldier get in trouble, they don't say Griffin messed up. They say an Army soldier. That's so now we all tied to it. So if a person is not willing to receive constructive, and like you said, she gave you constructive criticism. She didn't beat you down. She just gave you another way of looking at it. Man, that's beautiful because everybody don't have that, and the ones that do some, and some that have it, but they don't want to receive it. Mm-hmm. They not humble. I see that. You got to remain humble.
Yeah, and it wasn't that. It was coming from a place of genuineness. Like she because I understand who you are and the platform that you have. I need you to hear what I'm telling you. So immediately off rip, she captured my attention. That the fact that she even reached out and called me. Yeah. So just in listening to her, she captivated my attention. And I'm like, it caused me that what she was saying was true. He's right here, that uncomfortable truth. she said what she was saying to me, it made such more clarity because I was only looking at it from one perspective without looking at the holistic picture of it.
So as you progress in the military, I always equate it to horses. Horses have what on? They have blinders on, and they only see what's in front of them.
Yeah.
And the reason why they have those blinders on is so that they not startled from what's going on to the left and to the right. But as you progress, and as you progress in the military, guess what? Those blinders have to come down, and you have to look at the big picture. One of my mentors always told me, Griff, I need you up in the balcony. I need you to get off the dance floor because you can see so much more in the balcony than you can see down on the dance floor in the midst of everything. Because you can't see the whole picture. So that's good. Like I said, it's good that you got somebody that was able to come and talk to you. And then it was the approach. She put your mind at ease because when she came to you, she didn't just say, hey, you man, that was stupid what you did. No, based on what you just said, this is how she came to you and spoke to you. Approach is everything. How it's delivered.
That delivery and tone. So I would say this is what this individual was not an advisor to the page or a team member of the page. It was just another, and here's what I want to drive this home. It was just another non-commissioned officer that said, hey, wait a minute. Let me reach out and give this individual some perspective on what he or she said. And she said it so clearly, like, because the platform that you have, people listen to what you say, and you can't be drawn by emotions or whatever. And so just by her saying, I'm listening, I'm like, you know what? It caused me, because if you really want to look at the whole thing of it, the truth is just the truth. Even if it come from a liar, a known liar. And what we do sometimes is, and I'm not saying this about this individual, somebody that we can know that's messed up in their career, got an Article 15.
Yeah.
If they come and tell you, hey man, you know you shouldn't have been speeding out there on the highway, you know what we do is we turn a blind eye. That's telling you the truth. Yeah. You shouldn't be speeding on the highway. But because they've messed up in their career and they're trying to, give you some constructive criticism or some constructive guidance, to hold you accountable, we turn a blind eye because, oh, you messed up. You can't come tell me nothing about this.
No, I think the person that got in trouble, that got messed up before, is probably the person I really need to listen to.
Yes.
Because they trying to make sure, you learn. If there's one thing I learned in 30 years of military service, I learned more from other people's mistakes than I ever did from people's success. And so if somebody is, especially when somebody got caught up and they still willing to come, because they came to grips with what they did was wrong, and they want to make sure that somebody else don't make the same mistake that they did.
I agree, especially if it's somebody. So for instance, if it's somebody that got a DUI, and they at a party and I'm at a party, and I'm getting ready to drive off, and I got my keys, and that individual comes to me and say, "Hey man, look, you don't want to do that." That might be the individual I need to talk to, because who better to talk about it than somebody that came from experience?
They've been through it.
DUI.
They've been through it.
Man, listen, I'm super excited. So we don't do commercials here at NCOPD Live. So we just gonna keep the ball rolling.
Keep it rolling, man. Keep it rolling, man.
Bridging the gap.
Okay. The
past, the present, and the future.
Okay.
So when we talk about this bridge, because I want to break this down. We talk about bridging the gap. It's got to be. I want to style this bridge as it's taking us over to another location, and we have to build this bridge in order to get across. And there's something under the bridge that in order for us to get across, the bridge has to be built.
Yeah.
So if you was to give your perception or your idea on the bridge, who would you want to help you build this bridge?
The team. And when I say the team, I'm talking about everybody. I take a little bit of the old and a little bit of the new. What was that drum line? Was that drum line? When they said they took a little bit of the old
school and a little bit of new school.
Yeah. And I don't like to beat my peers up, but a lot of my peers are so set in their ways, and they're not receptive to new stuff. One of the things that I done gotten a lot of debates about, because I always hear people say, hey, we need to get back to the basics. And it always scratch my head, because I always say, so tell me, what is getting back to the basics? because what's basic to Private Griffin that just came in the Army yesterday is completely different than what's basic to you. And so what we got to do is we got to bridge the gap. We got to figure out where they at. And us as leaders, sometimes we got to come to where they at sometimes. And not to say that you completely change who you are, but sometimes, what's the word I want to say? You have to stick to your goal, but sometimes you might have to be flexible in your approach. I've always believed that the person that's doing the job probably got a better way of doing it than me. I'm just gonna be honest. And so I like to get feedback from them. That's how we bridge the gap, by getting feedback from everybody, not just, I can easily call people that's been out in the Army for 30 years. I can tell you right now, they can give me some things, but they can't tell me what's going on in the military right now. And so who better to talk to somebody about what's going on right now than somebody that's actually in it? And so bridging that gap, man, is making everybody a part of the team, making them feel like they're part of the team, making them feel like they have a say-so in the process. And as a leader, it don't take away from you making the decision at all. Because at the end of the day, it still rests and abide on you and your commander, but it don't hurt getting feedback from your subordinate soldiers to get a better understanding of what we need to do to bridge the gap. I don't like to use the word hate. I just despise to hear that phrase, we need to get back to the basics.
Okay.
Show me what the basics is, because that's what the basics was. The basics was you showed me how to do something. So when you sit up there and you complain and you say, well, this generation of soldiers, they just clueless. They said that same thing about me in 1990. They said that same thing about my platoon son who was a Vietnam vet when he came in. That don't change, man. I mean, I think everybody want to be a part of the team, and you got to make them part of the team. That's how you bridge the gap.
Okay.
Social media. I'm gonna shut up for them. Like, you got some senior leaders that they're afraid of social media. They won't touch it. I told you this behind when we was talking earlier. Man, I wish I had.
Why is that?
What change? So remember that book I told you, Who Moved My Cheeks? It is human nature to resist change. We get accustomed to doing something a certain way forever. And so to ask me to do something completely different than the way that I've done it before, that makes some people uncomfortable. It's human nature. It don't make a difference. You know, when I go to Baskin Robbins, I always want vanilla ice cream. I know they got 31 flavors in it. They got all these flavors.
I was say, they got 31 flavors.
I used to get in trouble with my mom. My mom used to be so upset with me, man, because I always want vanilla ice cream, because that's what I'm accustomed to. But sometimes if you just accept a little change, maybe, and then what I do, I'll be small. And then let me get that vanilla bean ice cream. She was like, oh, let me get the French vanilla. She said, it's still vanilla. Get another flavor with them. But a lot of times it's because they're not willing to change. Who moved my cheese, man? Every soldier that ever worked for me, they know what I talk about when I say that. And it's a book about change. And a lot of times it's us senior leaders, because we've been accustomed to doing something a certain way forever. And now you're telling me what I've been doing forever is wrong. It's not wrong. It's just a better way to do it. Man, like I was telling you, I don't know how many of them little green books from the supply room I lost that had all the information for my soldiers. Man, if I had a cell phone back then with an app where I could put all the information in, man, life would have been so much better. When we used to go to the boards with our leaders' books, man, we walking around with all this stuff up underneath our arms and stuff like we, going to college. Now you got it at the palm of your hand. Why not embrace that?
I looked at bridging the gap, and I looked at it as a form of sacrifice. I'm gonna build this bridge for somebody to come behind me, that they can come and do the successes that I did. Yeah, they can come in and be where I'm at. So when I looked at bridging the gap, I looked at a sacrifice, but then I also looked at is that the bridge is designed to take me somewhere. And you spoke about it. The gap can be that as time passes, things change. Yeah, and a lot of leaders are not acceptable to change, like you said about social media. I've reached out to some individuals who I thought was awesome, But if we're going live, they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's a difference. And I was talking to Sergeant Jackson about this. It's a difference versus going live than recording a video.
Yeah.
Because when it's live, you can't take it back.
It ain't no editing. And so again,
talk about it.
That tell me that people that don't have filters. You know, I mean, and at the end of the day, how I'm talking to you right now, you can ask anybody. It's the way I've always. I ain't gonna say. I take that back. Before I was a drill sergeant, I used to cuss jokers out. I ain't gonna lie. But now, I mean, if you don't have nothing to hide, and if you ain't trying to impress nobody, normally you gonna say what's right. I've never and don't ever think about what I say. I don't. I love having these conversations. But I'm not mad at the ones that don't embrace it. I don't. That's just them. But I would tell most of the leaders, striving leaders that's out there watching right now, at some point, if you don't embrace the change, you're gonna get left behind. I can tell you that. If you're not willing to adjust or change, your peers are gonna go right past you. They're gonna go right past you, and so you got to be willing to change at some point. Some people accept change a little bit sooner than others. As a leader, we are the change managers. We shouldn't be the ones that's complaining about stuff. You know, once it's done, it ain't up for debate. Let's execute. Because your soldiers, yet again, they watching you. Your first son say PT at 6 o'clock. Guess what? It's at 6. Now, hopefully, we might have had that opportunity to sit around and talk about it, but we did. The last person that need to be complaining about is the one that's in front of them soldiers. Because trust and believe, you complain about something, they're gonna be complaining about what you do.
Yeah.
It's leadership versus leadership.
That's another topic. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna let you talk on that one. That wasn't even on the script. But since you brought it up,
I apologize.
No, but okay, but since you brought it up, because that goes back to that mentorship, leadership versus leadership, and on so many levels, you hear a lot of soldiers want to be buddy with their NCO, but don't want to take the leadership guidance that they give them. But in some aspects, do you think that NCOs are some contributors to that leadership versus leadership?
Oh yeah, I could tell you. You looking at one. When I was a young sergeant, I wanted to be liked. I was out there like trying to be super sage private. That's who I was when I first got. Because when I got promoted to sergeant, now most of my peers are 5 to 10 years older than me. And then all the people that's my age, now they my subordinates. And I felt like it was on me to protect them. And so I was still going out to the club. I was still doing stuff with them. And then wasn't until I got burned and embarrassed that I realized that, you know what, I can't do it. Because I was okay as long as I was doing everything they wanted me to do. But the minute I did something that completely went against what they wanted to do, I found myself, I got embarrassed. And I never forget this, 1994 in Korea. There's like 3 other companies out there other than ours, and I got embarrassed. And it was a teaching moment, yet again, a teaching moment, because I had people telling me, Griff, hey, I got it. You want the soldiers to like you. Take care of them. They might not understand it now, but later on, when you get them phone calls and they say, hey, could you look at my NCO, or I got this situation, that's what it's all about. And that's what the difference between being a leader and being liked. Leaders are going to do some things sometimes that is not going to be the most popular thing, but it's the right thing for the organization. And you can't be afraid to make that decision, because they're going to get upset. People, it's just human. It's human nature for people to get upset, get mad. People are always going to get upset and get mad at something. But if you know you had the best intentions and you weren't trying to do anything, like I just seen up there, it's business. It's not personal. You know what I'm saying? So I find out the most successful leaders is the ones that actually take care of soldiers, not the ones that's letting them hang out with them and go to the club with them and stuff like that. Eventually, that's gonna play out. So
okay. So I'm not gonna say that, but no, because my advisors are watching, and I didn't coordinate that statement with them. But you know what? I'll say that I learned from earlier. That NCO gave me some great constructive advice. And so because I did not clear this with my advisors, I've learned earlier. I'm not gonna say what I was about to say because I have to realize, and then you gave me some advice too, and I was gonna talk about it. I'm still gonna talk about it in my closing remarks, but you gave me some advice too that I have to realize that I'm being watched. I'm under the eye, so I gotta keep that leadership in my forefront. Not because emotions or likership, but I have to be careful and cognizant of the things that I do and that I say. Go ahead.
But let me throw this at you too, because sometimes people get this confused too. Knowing your soldiers, getting to know your soldiers, getting to know their family and stuff like that, that's leadership. But some people think if I get to know my soldier or say something to them, then people think I'm liking my soldiers. Oh, if you just learning about one of your soldiers, maybe. But if you get to know, I've had some great leaders in my military career. I have to be said I'm blessed. I hear so many people talk about, but I have honestly been blessed by some great leaders. And one thing I realized about all of them, they didn't go to the club with me and stuff like that, but they knew all my kids. They knew where I lived at. I cared more about that because I knew that if they cared about my family, if they cared about my kids, don't your son got a game today? They knew about stuff that I didn't even know about. You know what? If they cared about that type of stuff, then I mean they gonna take care of me. So, but some leaders think if you get that personal with a soldier, then now you're not being a leader. No, that's a part of being a leadership. Managers manage and leaders lead. And yet again, I'm going into another topic, so I'm gonna shut up there. But I just wanted to make sure.
I'm interviewing you.
Because we in the people.
Give us that feedback.
We in the people. Being in the army, we in the people's business. We can talk all we want to, but we in the people's business. And General Schwarzkopf had this. He talked about this. He said, "What makes our army the strongest is not the tanks, it's not the helicopters or the weapons. It's none of that. It's the people that drive the tank. It's the people that fly the helicopter or shoot the weapon. If we don't take care of them, all that other stuff means nothing." That's what managers manage resources. They worry about resources. They worry about meeting numbers and deadlines. Leaders worry about that as well as the people that's responsible for making sure that those deadlines happen, and making sure that equipment is being taken care of and the resources are there. So that's something I just throw that out there because a lot of people get that confused too.
I like that. It's not squad manager. It's squad leader. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna go out on a wild limb and say that's the one and only.
That's the Hurricane.
Is that the Hurricane? Command Sergeant Major Halliburton?
I think it's either Hurricane or Malson Green. One of the two.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. But I like that. It's not squad manager. It's squad leader. Then I saw something earlier, and we'll move on to the next topic. We recite it. We say it all the time, but I wonder if we really understand what we're saying. I will provide outstanding leadership, not likership. We say it all the time, but I think we've gotten so comfortable of just reciting it that it's almost just a normality. But we said all the time that we will provide outstanding leadership, not likership.
Love it.
Junior leadership engagement. Now, this is a touchy. That is. That is junior leader engagement, leadership engagement, and it's almost a topic that's close to what's going on in Fort Hood. That so many things could have been avoided with proper junior leadership engagement at the squad leader level. That sergeant or that team leader, it's important. Talk to us about the importance of junior leadership engagement.
But one of the things is important is the developing them before they even become a sergeant.
It's easy to get so it's easy to get promoted now, though, Sergeant Major.
Yeah, it is, man. It is, but it's also that's because I just feel like if some people get promoted before we think they should have got promoted, then somebody above them didn't do their job correctly. Whereas when I say that they didn't do the proper counseling, they didn't do what they were supposed to do. Because I'm gonna be honest, in the organizations that I've been in, if Griffin hit that, and it's a reason why right now why they had that automatic promotion list and all this other stuff because we weren't doing our job, and so now we had somebody else tell us to do because we weren't letting people go to boards and stuff like that. And the only excuse they was giving, he or she ain't ready.
They're not ready. Yeah, that was the number one reason.
But I got it, but that don't work. If you tell me how come they not, show me why they not ready. Did you put it down on some paper? Did you sit them down and talk to them? If Griffin hit the primary zone, guess what? It should be something in writing showing me why Griffin ain't ready. Then guess what? I'm gonna go to bat for you. But on the flip side of it, how have you teach, coached, and mentored that junior leader? Specialists in my organizations was coming to NCODP. I can't wait till you make sergeant to invite you to NCODP. I was in one group on Facebook. They didn't want sergeant first class promoters. It was a master sergeant group, and they felt like you got to be master sergeant before you can be in this group. And I'm like, even if they promotable, they gotta wait till they put the rank on. That logic to me doesn't make sense, because the junior leader engagement starts before they even are put in that leadership position.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that when they do become a part of the fold, which you should have been able to identify that private and that specialist in your rank anyway, that one is that emerging leader, and then you start putting them in positions, have them giving classes. Hey, you know what? We got sergeant time trainer. I'm gonna let specialist such and such get this particular training. This is how you start to develop them. You know what? And I remember this when I was a private. We used to switch roles. The platoon sergeant, we'll throw the private be the platoon sergeant, the private be the squad leader. That's how you develop. As a motor sergeant, I had a soldier shadowing me. And so that soldier went to all the meetings, and I prepared them to be prepared to, to get the briefings and stuff like that. So I think the junior leaders, that is the most important thing for me in the military. I mean, I was hard on my E4s and my E5s as a first time. I think those were the ones that I focused on the most, because in my eyes, that's who the soldiers spend the most time with. And so I got to make sure we get that right. And I used to pound them. I do feel comfortable in knowing that most of those guys and girls, they saw majors now, they master sergeants, they warrant officers, and they officers. And it's because I was on them then. It's better to get on them then than to wait later. Because if you didn't do it when they're young, guess what? They just gonna become a senior person, and it's gonna be the same thing. Remember when I said at the beginning, you gotta build your bench. And so building that bench, they gotta start early. And it start with that junior leader. You got to teach, coach, and mentor those young soldiers.
So that part is I spot on, which leads me back to the point, the importance of being engaged as a junior leader. So now that I've been taught right, and I know what right looks like, explain to me, why is it important if I'm a junior? If you're speaking right now to Sergeant Hicks, just newly promoted Sergeant Hicks, and you bring me in the office and say, Sergeant, I want to have a conversation with you and tell you why it's important for you to be engaged with your soldiers. That's PT, that's sergeant's time training. When training is going on, you're there. What would you tell me as a young, newly promoted sergeant why it's important?
It's important. It's important because it saves lives. It saves lives when you engage. Because when you engage and you're around, your soldiers know that they can talk to you. They know they can come to you with their problems, with their issues. If you ain't around, and I understand a lot of leaders get upset when they soldiers go and start talking to somebody else, but they see that person around. They know they feel comfortable. They can go talk to them. General Colin Powell say the day soldiers start bringing you the issues is the day you stop being a leader. And so if I got that young, newly promoted sergeant, I tell it saves lives. Your presence saves lives. And it also get, like I just seen somebody say, it gives you the opportunity to evaluate the next future sergeant. How can you evaluate and say Griffin is not ready to be promoted if you ain't around to see Griffin and how he executing and what he or she is doing? So, but at the end of the day, for me, it saves lives. I mean, I learned so much just going around, being around my soldiers.
Man.
Now, as you move up, it's going to be time you won't be able to get the opportunity to be around them as much as you would like to. But if you did it right, the people that you teach, coach, and mentor, they doing it. And that's what it's all about. That's how the wheel keep on rolling.
Yeah, I agree. I would say this. I was having a conversation with the whole COVID thing that's been going on. So now I'm able to when I'm not at work at the academy, I do video face chats with the people that I mentor. That hey, I look at their act. I'm like, okay, you're coming up on this, and I send them a message. Say, hey, what are you doing on such date at this time? Okay, hey, I'm going to send you a link. I need to have a discussion with you. Even it doesn't stop just at the junior leadership. And I used to always see that. You ever notice when it's PT and I'm in the SPO section and my SPO NCO, when the first sergeant, they're in formation, they're in the back, hanging out in the back, they saluting the flag. But when PT get ready to go do PT, they left it to the sergeant or the staff sergeant of the section to perform PT, and they dip out, they gone. I don't know where they're going, but they would never engage. And so it doesn't just stop at junior leaders. It's leadership all the way through. But I just think in these times, and I'm trying to stay on topic, and my heart goes out to that situation in Fort Hood. But it's so important for junior leaders to be engaged with you. So they're gonna think that you're being in their business. And you used to always hear someone say, son, why are you trying to be in my business? I'm not trying to be in your business. Son, I'm trying to be engaged. I want to make sure you're getting paid right. You ask a soldier nowadays to see their LES, come on, Sergeant Major, be real with them. What they gonna say?
Again, it's all about how you been around them. One, what they've been exposed to. If they ain't never had nobody to take care of them, the first thing they gonna say is that, hey, you trying to be in my business.
Trying to be in my business.
And the other thing is how have you been around them, period. Again, I only focus, and I told you earlier, I only focus on Grill Fox. So I don't think I've ever had, even with the new generation of soldiers, that ever have an issue. If I ask them, hey, let me see your LES, is it going to be an issue? Because they already know what my heart is. They know what my intentions is. Mm-hmm. But if you out of the whim and you ain't never done this before, they're going to start questioning that type of stuff. And so it's a different the demographics of the soldiers that coming in right now is completely different than the demographic of the soldier when I came in. A lot of these soldiers a lot of the soldiers that's in the Army right now, they raised themselves. Because a lot of them grew up in single parent homes. And so automatically, because they done raised themselves and they've been made to make adult decisions, when they come to you, they already feel like they're on the same level as you. And you have to understand the demographics of the people that's in your formation. And the only way you can understand the demographics is through engaged leadership.
Engagement. You got to be there. You said it, man. That engagement with the presence, your presence is detrimental to an organization, because guess what? If you're not there, then guess what? When they become leaders, guess what they gonna think is right?
So why should I listen to sharp training? You ain't that sharp training.
Oh, come on.
You know what? We got MRT training. Son Griffin ain't here, so I guess it's really not that important.
It's not.
But here's the thing now. As you begin to progress, you won't be able to be at everything, but you can be at some things when you can. And you have to be able to explain the why too. Because sometimes, like I give you an example the example you gave me a second ago about the master sergeant leading the formation. Well, when I was in 19 ESC at that time, you got a lot of senior leadership in that formation. A whole bunch of sergeant majors, a whole bunch of former first sergeants in that formation. Mm-hmm. And so we standing in that formation with the rest of those junior soldiers in there, we are a distraction from the command team. Mm-hmm. And so in 19th, we all used to have to come to formation, but they know where I'm leaving. I mean, sometimes I'll go get in the different run groups and stuff like that, but sometimes I know my presence alone is going to take away from what the first sergeant and the company commander is going to be doing. So every situation is different. But I think at some point you can go do a little PT with the soldier. You can go down to the motor pool or to the S1 shop or whatever it is, just to see what's going on.
I'll tell you another place you barely see leader engagement.
In the DFAC.
Or motor stables.
See,
again, we over an hour, but we can let it go a couple more minutes. But
you already know. You already know, man. I'm retired now, so you gonna have to kick me off of here. Again, I just leave. I always go back to what have they been exposed to. The army I was exposed to, every Monday was mowed stables. The gates was locked. All leadership. That's when they used to hold battalion formation at the
Yes.
Army. But on the flip side of it, after we started all these deployments and all that other stuff, and we turned all that equipment over to civilians to take care of it, it's like a lost art. And it's a white paper out there called "The Lost Art of Garrison Leadership." And I would challenge you to go Google it. It'll come up and read it. What it takes is leaders that have been exposed to it re-implement. And I would tell you, it's a lot of that experience, a lot of that institutional operational knowledge. A lot of us go, man. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. But
Yeah.
all the stuff that it don't take some major making motor stables happen. Because remember when I said always focus on your piece of the pie. Don't and it's always important that you let your soldiers know. Don't worry about what's going on in first platoon or second platoon. Hey, we gonna be down here in this motor pool. They might be mad at you initially, but wait till y'all get out on that road on a convoy and y'all vehicles moving, and somebody else's vehicles break down. You know what? That's when they start to appreciate their leadership. And you know what? Son Hicks had us down here, even though I didn't understand it then. And without them even knowing it, you just drop some knowledge on them, and they're gonna do the exact same thing when they're in the same position. And if it's being done right, it's like, because a lot of senior leaders don't like to be embarrassed either. Sometimes they look at their peers and they be like, oh, they over there doing it. Damn, I got to go do it. Because they don't want to look bad, because they see how everybody else is engaged or how this person is doing it. You ain't going to be able to fix everybody. Every organization is not going to be doing the exact same thing. I will always stress, focus on your piece of the pie, man. Focus on the things that you can control. And once you get to a certain level, the things that you say is not being done now, and you're in a position where you can make that happen, make it happen.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
So a question was posed: presence. Do you think it's lost or misplaced?
I think it's misplaced. I don't think nothing that we do in the military is lost. I just think some things people haven't been exposed to. Just be honest. So I would say it's lost. It's just a matter of somebody getting out there and doing it. Because everything that we do in the military, it ain't nothing new. It's new ways of doing it, but it's still, I mean, here, you can either use the EST or you can use the downwashing method. It's still the exact same thing. It's still teaching you how to fire a weapon. I would just say it's misplaced. I don't think it's lost, because it is leaders I know for a fact that show presence every day. I'm looking at one right now. You know, just you showing presence right now. It's just some people out there that they haven't been exposed to it. But like I told you before, I told you earlier, when you know better, you do better. Yeah. And I feel confident in knowing that everybody that I've had the opportunity to lead, they know what presence is. And they know how I feel. Because what I always want to lead my soldiers with is like how they always say, what would Jesus do? I always be like, man, when I lead my organization, I want my soldiers that I left behind to say, well, what would Griff do right now? Mm-hmm. And not trying to compare myself to Jesus at all, because that's the greatest man that ever walked this earth. I'm not. I always wanted my soldiers that's what I wanted their thought process to be. And so I made sure that they understood what presence was.
Okay. Well, so I mean, we've had a great session at NCOPD Live. We've covered all our topics. So I'm going to give you final words and comments or whatever you want to say. Mike is yours.
Okay. Hey, Son Hicks, I really appreciate you, man, having me on here. I'm a soldier for life. I love being a soldier. I did this thing for 30 years. I still feel that it is still a lot of great leaders out there. We have to take yet again our blinders down and realize that it is still a lot of great leaders out there. For the junior, mid, senior leaders out there, I always say focus on your piece of the pie. If you focus on your piece of the pie, you focus on what you have direct control and responsibility for, I promise you that stuff will get better. Stop worrying about what's going on that you won't have no control over. If it's anything that I leave here tonight, because I see a lot of the comments, a lot of times people be like, well, you know, we don't do this and we don't do that. If you don't have no control of it, don't worry about it. At the squad level, your primary mission in life is your squad. Focus on those 6 to 10 little beady eyes that you look at every day and make sure that you be the best leader that you can possibly be. When you become a platoon sergeant, you become a first sergeant or whatever, your responsibility to get a little bit more, then you know what, you can start implementing more things. And that's how you fix it. And the other thing that I would ask is, hey, some of those time-honored traditions like NCOPD, NCO calls, NCO induction ceremonies, even when people get promoted to each rank as a non-commissioned officer, you know, my thing was every time you got promoted to a non-commissioned officer, guess what? You was gonna confirm your status as a non-commissioned officer. So we're gonna do the NCO charge again, so you can understand that, because in the NCO charge it says to the rank to the grade that I have been promoted to or something to that. So it ain't about sergeant no more. You just made staff sergeant. So guess what? You're gonna reconfirm your status again. And I did it all the way with my first sergeant. So hey man, I really think this is a great thing that you have, and I'm not just saying it because you invited me on here. You know, I've been on the background. I even got top fan status because I love coming on here and watching. It makes me still feel like I'm a part of the military. This is all I've been doing since I was 17 years old. And so I feel comfortable walking away because I see guys like you doing things like this. I know that we're in good hands with all states. Are we gonna have some bad days? Yes. Every organization have bad, not just the Army, but I know that that we get through it just like we can get through everything else. And it's all about taking care of soldiers, engaged leadership, like you said, in presence, and everything else will work itself out.
Okay.
I shut up now. Roll Tide, and how about them Cowboys?
See, look.
Hey, it ain't your fault, sorry. Hey, everybody know me. I always close out with a Roll Tide, man. I'm sorry.
So, see, he just threw me off.
No, I didn't. That was not my intent.
Roll Tide.
The same way you threw me off with the 60 seconds in the beginning, huh?
Oh, is that what it is? So now,
let me say this one last thing. That's another thing. As a leader, you got to be able to know how to laugh. You got to be able to know how to laugh sometime with your soldiers.
So since you said that, so why is, and we getting ready to get off. I see a lot of people talking about continue to talk to us, but so you brought that up. Why is laughter important? Like seriously, because we going through some times within the military. It seems like the morale is down with the social unrest and everything. Why is laughter good?
It's good for the soul, man. I just think it's good for the soul. I think when soldiers see their leaders smiling and laughing, it shows them that it's okay, that I can do it too. If you that leader is always walking around upset, uptight, this is not when we were soldiers. And even in Sergeant Major, it was different. That was a different army then. At the end, when respect was gained, you see they can have conversations. But I think now, in the army that we're in now, with the type of soldiers that we have now, and I don't mind debating this with nobody. Soldiers in today's army are so much smarter than when old Private Griffin came into the army. They want to know why. See, when I came in, it was no asking why. We just execute. You know what? I'm still sitting out there picking weeds up out of the daggone cracks because that's what I did when I was a private, and it translated over to when I was a sergeant and all that other stuff. Because nobody ever explained the why to me. But in this generation, you start explaining the why to them, make them understand why they're doing stuff that's gonna make for a better leader on down the line. And I just think it makes you human when you smile and when you laugh. It's a time to be serious too, but every day, all the time ain't serious. You don't have to walk around mad with the world. Let me tell you, when you walk around mad with the world all the time, soldiers don't know when to take you serious because you're always serious. You know what I'm saying? I know how to flip the switch. That's one thing all my commanders said, man, I ain't never seen nobody flip the switch and flip it right back and go on by his business like you. Because I think Mark said it, you can't use a hammer all the time. It ain't like right now, like you said, with the racial social unrest and all that stuff, now is not the time to be using a hammer. It's time to have a smile. It's time to talk and get through this thing.
Yeah. So before I get my closing remarks, so There's only been two people that the followers asked for an encore, have them to come back on the show. And both of the two, one was Command Sergeant Major Lambert, and one was Command Sergeant Major Warren. And they both agreed to come back on, but they wanted to wait a couple of months and give other individuals to come back on. Will you be willing to accept an encore?
Roll Tide.
Well, that did that.
Hey, I know you seen that commercial, man. That's a yes, man. Like I said, man, I'm in the give back part of my life right now. Okay. And so anything that I can do that's gonna help other people be better, I'm all for it.
See, and so this is one of the things I liked about NCOPD Live. Like the whole thing with the quick in 60 seconds, it gives soldiers enough to see that, hey, that's a command sergeant major. He was at the brigade and garrison level, but he's actually on here laughing, having a good time. It makes it seem like you're more approachable. So that's why I definitely agree with you to say that it's okay to laugh. Like he got a command sergeant major on his platform, and they laughing, having a good time, but they also having professional, open dialogue, about topics that we normally don't talk about in the armies anymore. So that's why I definitely appreciate you coming on, because this platform is built, to have open dialogue, because I've made it to a point where I don't normally see NCOPDs happening in formations anymore. And like you say, you can't generalize it.
Yeah.
But that's the rumor that has it out there.
Yeah.
I've made it to a point.
Yeah.
That every Wednesday at 1900 Eastern Standard Time, we're getting NCOPD Live. We're getting after it. So you coming on to the show, and helping, give some guidance and to provide some feedback on professional development topics. I appreciate you for accepting the invitation. So I just want to tell you thank you. And then from earlier, it's good to have people that you can sit and talk to, and that genuinely care about what you've built. They see the potential and where it can go, and they give you constructive criticism. I don't even consider yours was criticism, but you gave that constructive feedback about the things that you told me, and I'm not going to say it because if you decide to say it, you say it. But the things that you told me, it just you, Master Sergeant Green, and the other NCO that I talked to today. It was just it was what I needed to hear, and I don't think sometimes people don't understand that the professional SGL, I need people to pour into me. So I wanted to tell you that I appreciate it.
Hey man, I'll tell you this: as you move up, you're gonna feel that even more. Like don't nobody appreciate you, because at the more rank you make, it's almost like it's the less people. Because everybody always assume, what Sergeant Major, that's Sergeant Major, they good. They made it to the rank of Sergeant Major. Ain't nothing wrong. You know what? Sergeant Major have issues too. Sergeant Major needs somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
And if I need somebody to talk to, I know my soldiers need somebody to talk to. NCOPD happens every week. You making sure that NCOPD happens, because if it ain't happening out there, soldiers have an opportunity to come here and get it. So you definitely making sure that it's happening. You are a part of the solution more so than the problem. So keep on doing what you're doing, man. Don't let nobody discourage you from stop doing what you're doing, and listen to your advisors, because your advisors they don't want nothing but the best for you. So
appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen. That was another great session of NCOPD Live with yours truly, Staff Sergeant Hicks, #professional SGL, and my special guest, Command Sergeant Major Griffin, soon to be retired. When's your last day in the Army?
31 July.
What's the first thing you're going to do?
I'm going to drive to San Antonio and get my retirement ID card. I'm going to take a picture of it, and it's going to be my new profile picture.
Oh, with the ID card.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. That's going to be the first thing he's going to do. I appreciate you again, Sergeant Major. I appreciate everybody coming on. And as always, before we end any NCOPD Live session, all of you out there, if y'all know it, say it with me. If you see something wrong and you fail to do something about it, then you have just created a new standard. And at the end of the day, that issue is never with you, but that issue is with the standard. This is yours truly, Staff Sergeant Hicks, Hashtag the Professional SGL, along with my special guest, Command Sergeant Major, soon to be retired, Griffin. Signing off. Y'all have a good evening.